Namaste, good evening, Jai Gurudev. Welcome each and every one of you to this fantastic and amazing session. It's called What a Shot, Hitting Mental Health Out of the Park. My name is Saurabh Ghosh. I'm going to be our host moderator for today. And I have with me some amazing panelists who are going to take you through a series of journey of their personal life as well as their professional life on how they have overcome mental health issues themselves and inspired millions of people across the world to do the same. But before I get into that, I want to wish each and every one of you watching here live a very happy Navratri. Hope you have an amazing, amazing 9 days in this beautiful Navratri celebration. So today is the World Mental Health Day. Often, let me start with an interesting fact to you. In the last year alone, the entire global economy lost $1 trillion. That's right, $1 trillion. You know why? It is because of two reasons. The loss of productivity due to depression and anxiety related issues. The loss of productivity due to that cost the global economy $1 trillion. Just imagine if each and every person on this world would have techniques, would have some powerful tools to equip themselves to overcome this. How much the world would be so much a better place to be. Don't you agree so? So today we are going to talk about a lot of practical tips, a lot of practical tools to make sure that you implement in your life. And if you have any questions during this entire session, feel free to ask on the chat and do our best to make sure that the speakers answers those questions as well. So once again, without wasting any further time, I welcome you to this session and let me start by introducing the first panelist for today. And he is none other than Mr. Dinesh Godke. He is an amazing, amazing speaker, a multiple times TEDx speaker. He has been teaching the Art of Living course in the last 25 odd years. He has traveled across 36 countries and taught millions of people. He's also an expert craniosacral therapist, a wonderful football player, and he has inspired so many people to live a better life and overcome any issues with respect to mental health. Welcome, Dinesh Bhaiya. Thank you so much for taking our time.
Thank you, Sarah.
Bhaiya, I want to ask you one question to start with. How does one identify that I have a mental health issue? How do you measure mental health in general?
The World Health Organization has got one thing right, and that is the definition of health. They say it is a complete, physical, mental, and social well-being, not just, uh, absence of disease or infirmity. So I would say that our mind, it really pervades into every aspect of our life. Of course, the physical. So it is not just having a healthy body, so to speak, but also the mind. How quickly can you get upset or angry or sad, depressed, anxious? That is mental health. How long does it sustain for you? If anger comes, if a negative emotion comes, how long does it stay? That is also an indicator of mental health. And how quickly can we get rid of it? In fact, Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar says that how long should a negative emotion last within us? As long as a line drawn on water. So it is not that we will never get angry. Yes, I've been meditating 27 years. Doesn't mean I don't get angry. I do get. It's just that the frequency is very less. And when it comes, it doesn't last long. In let's say 10 seconds, I can also smile as big as that, you know, uh, that outrage or how loudly I have shouted doesn't matter. 10 seconds, I can smile. So this has also come by training the mind. Yeah? Of course, I was not always like this. Yeah? Many a times, if I've had a fight with my friend, it would chew in my mind. It will just, be there and uh, take up so much of mental space and time and energy, and it would sustain for like weeks or months sometime. Now I'm able to let go of that, and that is what I would say is could be a way of judging our state of mental health.
Beautiful, Veya. Veya, you have also co-authored two fantastic books, Ready, Say, Go, and The Happiness Express. Veya, what are the tips or ways to come out of this thing? How does one come out of the mental health issues that one can face?
Yes, at least in our book, Happiness Express, we have talked about five things. No? First is, of course, keeping the body healthy. And this happens with movement. Movement is medicine. No? Our bodies were not made for sitting still or a sedentary lifestyle that we are exposed to nowadays. We are the biggest, uh, you can say, disease today, and WHO has identified this since 2012. They say it's the sitting disease. So movement and exercise is one thing. Second is the right kind of food. Yeah? What are we putting into our bodies, which makes this physical body, these 37 trillion cells that we have, they have come from the food and the water that we drink. You know? So, what kind of food are we eating? Then, also, what are we feeding our mind? All the five senses, yeah, in the name of entertainment, what we listen to, what we hear, so all that also affects how we are, our levels of happiness. And then we say good sleep, rest meaning good sleep and good meditation. Yeah, this can really give you a lot of power, a lot of clarity, a lot of focus. So it's not Darwin's theory of survival of the fittest. Nowadays, there is more addition to it, survival of the fittest and the focused. Because there's so much of distraction happening. If we don't train our mind to be focused, then we will lose out. And we've said the last thing is learning. How much are you open to learning? When we learn, we keep ourselves younger. If you see in the age group of 1 to 7, children learn the maximum in their entire lives. Yeah, this is research after research shows that. Okay, so when we are learning, we are keeping ourselves young, we are keeping ourselves enthusiastic, and we are keeping ourselves happier. So these are the few things that we have mentioned in our book Happiness Express, and the learning aspect of it we captured in our first book, Ready, Study, Go.
Brilliant, Veya. Veya, you are an avid sports person yourself, and nowadays we hear so many sports people facing, a lot of mental health issues. Some of them were even pulled out of the Olympics and a lot of different major tournaments. As a sports person, if one person is going through difficult times or not having a good streak, etc., what should they do? How do they come out with so much of expectation, so much of pressure? How do they come out of that situation?
Right. It is tremendous amount of pressure, no doubt. Not just from your family and friends, from your whole country. They are expecting you to bring back medals, and on your sponsors because they have invested so much amount of money on you. So and your own battles that are going on in your mind. No doubt. I had tweeted at that time during Olympics that the same was faced by Arjuna. He was about to start the battle, yeah, and he had this thing. No, how can I fight? And that is where the wisdom that Krishna gave, the Bhagavad Gita, that gave Arjuna the strength. Whether it was not just the wisdom, but the love of Krishna, the devotion that was there. He talked about karma yoga. He talked about action. So this understanding, feeding the mind properly, this gave Arjuna the strength or the valor to fight, when he was depressed and he was wanting to just leave everything and go. So I feel if we have this sort of a bigger outlook to life, uh, a connection with our goals, and not just our goals, but a bigger vision towards life. What am I here for on this planet? I have taken this human birth, which is quite rare itself. Out of the millions of species that are there on the planet, we've got a human birth, and we are here to leave a planet or a world much better than we found. When we have this outlook, then something shifts within us, and I feel that gives us the impetus to move forward. Physically, when somebody is not well, let's say while playing football, I break my leg. My leg is in cast. What happens? What do all the friends do? They will come and sign it and write cute messages on it, right? But not the same when somebody is not feeling well in the mind. They are feeling a little low or down. Yeah, there is some stigma attached to it. You see, when I was in IIT, we used to have a psychologist and a psychoanalyst, and in our campus hospital, but nobody would go to them because there was such a stigma attached. Oh, you're going to a shrink? Something wrong with your head? That sort of comments they will have to hear from their friends. But it was much easier for them to approach an art of living teacher because they were at their same age group, and they have those teachers or volunteers have also gone through the same challenges and the difficulties and the pressures, and they have handled it with, let's say, the practices, the meditation, the sudarshan kriya, or the knowledge, the wisdom. So they knew that, yes, that peer counseling is so much important. They could reach out to us, or the art of living teachers, and help themselves come out of that low phase. you know so
Absolutely,
that's what I
absolutely.
feel. If our world is blessed with more people who are engaged with yoga, breathing techniques, sudarshan kriya, that can pull the energy levels up and give a better or a wider outlook to life, then our world can be a much better place.
Amazing, amazing, Via. And Via, at this time, I would also like to invite the second panelist because you spoke about education, you spoke about youth, and uh, uh, I want to invite a speaker over here who is an amazing educationist herself. Her name is Dr. Emma Sapella. She's a lecturer at the Yale School of Management and faculty director of the Yale School of Management's Women Leadership Program. She's also an amazing, amazing author. Her book was really well received. It was called as the Happiness Track. She's also the science director of the Stanford University Center for Compassion and Education. She's been a mental health expert since the last many years. I welcome you, Dr. Emma. Thank you so much for taking out time as well.
Thank you. It's my
Uh,
pleasure.
She is such a good
and I would
friend
just
of mine.
in fact, the first question that I would like to ask you is where Dinesh Bhaiya just referred to as as a student, often you feel stigmatized to approach, a counselor of sorts, and you feel that, what will other people really think about me? What will be the other students? What will be my impression, etc. Yeah. So as a student, how does one deal with this entire, mental health issues if they are going through as a student? What do they do?
Well, first of all, no, everyone is walking around on this planet with no idea how to handle their emotions. I've asked people from all over the world, what did you learn about what to do with your big, bad, negative emotions since you were a kid? And this is what everybody says, well, just stuff it down, suppress it, just pretend everything's okay. That's what everybody's learning. And so, people may be trained in all sorts of techniques, and they may be engineers, they may be doctors. They've never learned how to handle their mind, because let me share with you the science of suppression, which is when you just sort of bottle up your emotion. The emotion at the level of the body gets stronger. So let's say you're feeling anger and you're just not showing it. You're like, no, everything's fine. At the level of the body, the anger response, the fight or flight response, the heart rate, blood pressure, inflammation, everything increases even more. It's like taking a soda can and shaking it up. And so that's why often when I ask, well, how's suppression working out to you? People say, it's not working out. I end up exploding later. It comes out as passive aggression or whatever. So the first thing I want to make clear is that nobody's ever learned how to handle their emotions. So if you're having a hard time with mental health, that's fine and normal, because no one ever taught you techniques to handle your mind. Now, psychology does offer one technique that's been well researched called reappraisal, which is basically looking at the situation from a different perspective. Like you get a parking ticket and you say, oh, I'm just going to think about it as a donation to the city. Or I didn't get that job I applied for, but I got really good training in interviewing, right? And so I'm going to be an even better interviewee for the next job. Fine. Here's the thing. Psychology's shown that if you're able to take that broader perspective that Dinesh was talking about, yes, it really can help you. At the level of your brain and your body, the emotion response cools down. But there's one thing. When the emotion's really, really strong, a lot of people will notice, geez, it's really hard for me to talk my way out of this emotion. You know, when you're really angry or really scared or really frustrated, it's really hard to talk your way out of it and to take a broader perspective at that moment. And that's where breathing comes in. So if you don't mind, I'd like to share a story, Anant, may I?
Please, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
about 8 years ago, my husband walks in and I look at him and he's pale. And I said, what's wrong? And he said, Jake was in an IED. So Jake is his friend who was a Marine Corps officer in charge of the last vehicle on a convoy going across Afghanistan. All the vehicles passed safely except Jake's, which drove over a roadside bomb. So in that moment, we can't even imagine the horror, the pain, the noise, everything. In a moment when he could open his eyes, he looked down, he saw his legs were almost completely severed. By miracle, he remembered something he'd read in a book about what to do in a time of wartime emergency. And it was a breathing exercise. He started to engage in this breathing exercise. And because he did that, he was able to calm his mind enough, regain that presence of mind, which you can imagine is hard when you're in so much pain and shock. And he did his first act of duty, which was to check on the other members of his vehicle. He did his second act of duty, which is to give orders to call for help. And he had the presence of mind to tourniquet his own legs and to remember to prop them upward. And only because he had done that, only after he'd done that did he fall unconscious. And later he was told if he had not done that, he would have died. He would have bled to death. And now he's in the US. His injuries were so severe, he has prosthetics on both of his legs, but he's alive. He has a family. He's working. So the point I'm trying to get across is just how powerful breathing is. I mean, a time when we want things to work, we want them to work well, and we want them to work now. It's amazing if whenever I think back on Jake's story, how breathing is one of the most powerful ways to get your state of mind back to an optimal place. And I can share more about the research on that, but that's what I wanted to share for now.
Sure, that's so amazing, and thank you for sharing the story as well. Nathema, one more question. As a senior educationist, often education leaders, especially in India, often wonder that what can they bring about for to improve students' mental health. They would want to make a difference in students' life. What should the number one thing that an educationist should do in order to improve students' mental health? What should that be?
It's interesting. In the US, too, in the last decade, we've seen a tremendous decline in student mental health. What are the universities doing? Putting more money into hiring more psychologists, more services for students. But the problem is that the mental health problems keep increasing year by year. What are you going to do? It's not sustainable to keep throwing money at support when the need is increasing. The only thing that makes sense is to make emotional intelligence, to make teaching these techniques of breathing techniques, meditation techniques, as part of the curriculum in a preventative manner. We're teaching these students to go out and be engineers and to be writers and be whatever, lawyers, but we're not teaching them how to live their life happily and how to handle the emotions that come their way. Especially after this pandemic, it's like, look, life is going to be chaotic. It has been, it will continue to be. How are you going to be successful in the face of that chaos if you don't know how to handle your mind? So the number one thing I would say is that part of education needs to be how to handle your mind. And the research we have shown we've done on both people with severe trauma, so veterans with trauma, but also students, is that we ran a study at Yale where we compared a bunch of different interventions, a mindfulness intervention, an emotional intelligence intervention, and then the Sudarshan Kriya intervention that Dinesh teaches, and a control group that didn't go through anything. And what we saw is while all of the groups that received a class benefited, the ones that benefited the most by far was the breathing intervention, was the Sudarshan Kriya intervention. And one of the reasons, again, going back to it, is that breathing doesn't just impact the mind, it goes into your physiology, calms the nervous system, calms the stress response, reestablishes that physiological resilience, and then also the mental and emotional.
Amazing. And at this time, I would like to, welcome Dinesh Bhaiya back, if it's possible, just to have a quick discussion between both of you. You mentioned that Dinesh Vyas teaches this amazing breathing technique. Over to both of you for having a quick conversation. One thing though, I want to just quickly just set a context here is, you mentioned that, Emma, you mentioned that a lot of times there is abnormal anger issues faced by a lot of people, right? Uh, how does one overcome that in your conversation? If you could address that as well, that would be really, really helpful. Thank you.
Yes, over to you.
Well, speaking of anger, I mean, it's so interesting, right? So as I was saying earlier, when you suppress an emotion, pretend you're not feeling it, it actually increases the anger. Even at the level of the brain, you see more activation. But what's so interesting is that why do people suppress their emotion? Why does someone pretend not to be angry? Because they want to maintain a good relationship, right? Like, let's say if I were angry at Dinesh and I would try not to show because I want to maintain a relationship. Here's the irony. This is crazy to me. We suppress so that we can maintain a relationship. But here's what happens. If I were to suppress anger right now, Dinesh's heart rate would go up. Intellectually, Dinesh wouldn't understand why, but he's all of a sudden not feeling comfortable around me. And this happens, all of us, right? Where we're all of a sudden not comfortable around someone, we don't know why. That's because our body registers inauthenticity before our intellect is caught on. And so that's the irony, is that we register inauthenticity as threats. So see, if I were suppressing my anger and then in order to maintain my relationship with Dinesh, but then Dinesh isn't feeling comfortable. And what research shows is when we suppress our emotions a lot, our relationships are impacted. So all the more reason to learn constructive techniques like seeing things from a broader perspective by practicing meditation, breathing, and so forth. Dinesh, what do you think?
That's wonderful, really. You have such an amazing way to explain things. And your book, Happiness Track, well, it laid the foundation for the Happiness Express to go on. When I was in Stanford, I was conducting a course. I remember two things that some of the students had shared. One person said, we have something called a Stanford duck syndrome, where the duck on the surface is gliding so beautifully, but under the surface of the water, it is flapping away. Yeah. That's what happens when we see people nowadays. On the exterior, things seem to be okay. Things seems to be normal. But underneath, inside the mind, there could be a storm brewing. And that's why we are seeing this, the issues either with depression and anxiety on one hand, or aggression and violence on the other hand. It has pervaded our society. And it is not so obvious. So we don't have to wait for something drastic to happen till we take an action. As you said, we could be more preventive rather than just curative. And I'm glad that you are taking that lead with all sorts of research and how breathing and meditation is affecting our mental health, our emotional health, and that is the way of the future. I was seeing some of the interviews, top authors and educationalists and thinkers, and like that Yuval Noah Harris, and he was talking at Google. He said what is required for the next generation is just this mental resilience and how they can handle their emotions. Because going forward, machines may take up a lot of the routine stuff that we do. Artificial intelligence is taking up. What we as humans have is this ability to be humans, be loving, be kind, be compassionate. And if we are trained in that, then we are definitely going to go, we will progress and prosper. That's what I feel.
So true. And I think a lot of students keep focusing on, I'm going to get this job. I need to make this money. I need to do all this stuff on the outside. But it's like, guess what? I was on a Yale alumni Facebook group the other day, and I was looking at these alumni, and the question was, what do you do for a living? And what would you advise someone who wants to get there? So presumably for younger alumni to learn. I was shocked because most of the answers were not answering the question. They were saying what their profession was and how much they hated it. It was mostly physicians and lawyers. And they were saying things like, don't do things for prestige and money. Because here they are, 1 or 2 decades later, wealthy, prestige, all the stuff. miserable. And it's like, no, the only wealth out there is if you have peace of mind peace in your mind and in your heart. That is true wealth. And then go ahead and do whatever the heck you want. But don't be so focused on external things that then you do get what you want, but inside you're poor, you're miserable, right? So that internal resilience for whatever happens. And I think when you do quiet your mind, you also have a better compass for what it is that you truly want in life. Do I really want to go to med school? Or what is it? So, because that really puts you in touch with yourself.
Yeah. So, Emma, what is American universities or corporations doing to address this issue? Like Saurabh said in the beginning, we have lost like $1 trillion because of depression and anxiety issues, and it's not so obvious or out there. So we are not taking action. But are things moving forward in this direction?
I think people are just lost in putting band-aids on things. It's like, no, we can't put a band-aid. We got to prevent the problem. And I think that's what Art of Living is doing. That's what the programs that you're teaching are doing. And I don't understand why there's a block there. It's like, why don't we do prevention rather than just focusing on applying band-aids? So yeah, there are well-being programs sometimes and psychologists, counselors hired, which is great. But are we really addressing the issue? Are we really educating people in how to handle their mind? Because they didn't learn it in school and they didn't learn it in university. So now the workplace is stuck with it. But then if they do, they're going to be more profitable. It's going to make so much more sense.
Sure. In IIT Bombay, whichever stream we come in through, like I did metallurgy and material science, my brother did mechanical and electrical and civil engineering, whatever, everybody has to do computer science 101 because we have to use computers for the rest of our life.
Yeah.
But more fundamental than that is we have to use our minds, our emotions for the rest of our life. And there is no training in that.
Crazy.
And that's what I tell decision makers also, that this is so much more fundamental. As you said, we are making great doctors and lawyers and architects and whatnot, artists, but are we making great human beings? Because that is fundamental.
So true. And we need to teach adults and kids, because the adults are teaching the kids and the adults have no idea what they're doing. So then the kids are like, well, I have a 6-year-old, and whenever he has a tantrum, he gets really angry. I'm trying not to tell him, hey, just stop, be quiet. I'm trying not to teach him to suppress. I'm trying to teach him, okay, let's go breathe it out. Let's go do something. Let's go run. Let's whatever. But teaching the child, and I think this beautiful definition of emotion that I heard by Sri Sri, which is emotion is energy in motion. Can we treat an emotion as energy? Can we work with it? Can we let it work itself out? So much healthier.
Wow, that's lovely. That is the third aspect of that WHO definition, social well-being. And that social well-being can be had when we are in that ventral vagus state. Only then we can connect. So right now, if I'm a headache, I will not be able to be as loving, caring, compassionate, or social with you. But if I'm in that ventral vagus state, then I will want to reach out, then I will want to connect. And this is what I feel meditation and the breathing practices, the Sudarshan Kriya, is doing. And that's why it's become so popular.
It's so true, because we know from research that anxiety, depression, any negative state is associated with self-focus. So it's me, myself, and I when you're in that state. But if you're chronically stressed or chronically anxious, me, myself, and I all the time, then you also feel lonely. You can't connect, and you don't connect. It's when you're feeling better that you naturally feel that sense of belonging. So it makes so much sense.
Sure.
So thank you so much, Dr. Emma. Thank you so much, Dinesh Vyad. This is so beautiful. I think it was super insightful as well for people who are listening. A lot of valuable tips, and I'm sure the underlying theme of discussion was that it's so important not to just put a band-aid to things and just cover up. It's so important to prevent the entire thing, and that can be done very beautifully and effectively with breathing techniques and meditation. So thank you once again, Dr. Emma and Dinesh Bhaiya. Thank you so much. And up next, we have a very special fireside chat with Atika Di, with Dr. Virat Sirania and Avinash Tikku. And I'll not waste any further time, and I'll quickly introduce the first person here. Atika Danja. Atika De, as she's popularly known, is an amazing transformational image and a personal branding expert. She's also a TEDx speaker, a yoga and a meditation trainer, and a wonderful wellness coach. Atika De has trained for more than 10,000 hours of, she has more than 10,000 hours of training experience, taught millions of people across 30 plus countries. Uh, her one aspect is she covers the outer appearance so well, how to dress up well. I have attended her sessions; they are really, really amazing. At the same time, she's such a beautiful expert on the inner faculties of ourselves, that the mind. How does one become a better decision maker? How does one become a better leader? So I'm going to take a lot of questions on those, Atikadi, with your permission as well. Yeah, and also, I'll quickly introduce the other amazing panelists with us. Second up is Dr. Virat Surania, a brilliant and a dynamic trainer. He has taught people from across multiple countries. He's been an entrepreneur himself. He's been a certified life coach and a soft skill expert. He had done his master's from New York. He was also a research scholar with Kodak before, and currently he teaches the Art of Living course full time to help people lead a more purposeful life. Welcome, Dr. Virat. Also, I would like to introduce Avinash Tikku. Avinash Tikku is a world-renowned social entrepreneur who has transformed millions of lives across the world with his fantastic training. He teaches multiple courses of the Art of Living Foundation. He's a breathing expert, and he has taught in many institutes, including IIMs, IITs across India as well. So, welcome, Avinash. Thank you for joining in. I would like to start with asking a question for Atika Ji, if it's okay. Yeah. Atika Ji, a question regarding relationships, because it plays such a critical role. Because of work from home nowadays, the one person asked, the relationship with my husband has become difficult currently due to us not, due to us always being together. Earlier we had time separate, but now we are always together. We are not getting the space that we need. What can be done about this, and what is the solution for this? Atika, you are on mute. If you can just unmute yourself.
Thank you, Saurav, for such a warm introduction, and it's great to be here with Virat and Avinash together. All three of us. It's going to be great fun just listening to them and sharing some thoughts on the topic. So what I feel, Saurav, right now, what is happening is that people have got totally cooped in. And because of what we have been experiencing for the past 2 years, I think in spite of being cooped up at home with their family, loneliness, being with people at the same time being lonely and having a low self-esteem has become the real pandemic. And that is what we need to address. Yeah, so when somebody talks that, because of whatever I've been going through past 2 years and the relationship with the husband has spoiled, what she's actually saying is that I don't feel connected. Yeah, and it's suddenly life has changed. People have started working from home. You need a completely different skill set suddenly, otherwise we used to go to office, the boss would tell you some things to do and you would uh, give an ace performance and come back. But now people are finding they need new skill sets because they have to work remotely. Then they need to manage homes, they need to manage children, they need to manage relationships. So because of this, a lot of stress has creeped in into all relationships. Yes, and I'm not talking about just a husband wife, a spouse relationship, or with your partner, or whatever. I think we need to address relationships per se. So for me, I think these 2 years have really been, I mean, I've been staying with my parents. These 2 years have been a learning curve because it gave me time. In spite of the fact that I was working full time. I mean, I have met more people these past 2 years than I would ever meet otherwise. Yeah, because of the virtual classroom, the virtual Zoom sessions. Yeah, but at the same time, it gave me a lot of me time, and I learned a lot of skills. So I would say people should start doing that. They should start practicing something called self care. Okay. And what is self care? Um, Virat, Saurav, Avinash, can I just ask you to close your eyes for a second?
Sure.
Just close your eyes and take a deep breath in and breathe out. Take another deep breath in and breathe out and open your eyes. This is self care. That's it. This is all that you need to do. Whoever is asking me this question, you need to find and prioritize yourself and get into self care. And for me, self care, I've got a very simple formula for anybody who's hearing me right now. Number one, look after your diet. Yeah, eat good food. Yeah, 5 days. Anyway, you're not going out, or a little bit we started going out. So 5 days at least have good, healthy food. Yes. And then I believe in these three restorative activities, which I think everybody should do. Number one, as Dinesh was saying, movement. The body has to move. Movement is medicine. So we have to exercise. Number two, uh, mindfulness, meditation, stillness of the mind. So people get very scared when they hear stillness of the mind. Oh my God, this is going to be so boring. Listen, what I'm telling you is for just 5 minutes, can you sit on your couch, close your eyes, and do nothing? That is it. You start from that level. That's what I mean. And number three is get into nature. Now we can go out, get into nature, get dirty, get your hands and feet dirty, practice earthing. That will give you very sound sleep. That will release endorphins in you. And that, when you are yourself happy and content, you will go on to have better relationships. Then it really does not matter whether the husband is talking to me rightfully or not, because I am so content and happy. I'll make that social connect with him or her. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
we just need to do that, I feel.
Beautiful, beautiful, Atika. I want to also share that a lot of people on the chat box are asking about, anxiety, suffering from issues of depression, etc. Art of Living has a beautiful ebook on mental health and overcoming these anxiety issues, and we are just going to share it on the screen. You would get the link. Please download it. Please implement the techniques which are shared. It's supremely useful. Yeah. My next question is to Virat. Dr. Virat, I have one very interesting question regarding career because you are, a career expert as well. Uh, so there's a person who has asked this question that due to COVID, lockdown, and market conditions, etc., I have lost my job, yeah, and I'm not getting hired back soon because I was at a senior position. This has really taken a toll on my mental health. How do I overcome this, and what should I be doing?
So, good evening, everybody. The career issue is not just at junior levels. We have MBA grads not getting placed. We have people in the middle level getting fired. And of course, we have seniors. So, whenever somebody talks about career anxiety, the focus is not on the career word, the focus is on anxiety. If you don't know how to deal with anxiety, if not your career, you'll face some other issue. So whatever has been spoken so far already, that's a given. Unless I take care of myself, I meditate, I do some yoga, I breathe, um, I'm going to struggle with any kind of anxiety. Yeah. But when it comes to careers, we have to understand that we are living in the most uncertain times ever, right? The world is going to be known as pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. Things have changed forever. And the one thing that we don't have the luxury of is certainty. No matter how educated you are, no matter how uh, secure you feel in your job, it can go away like that. So, unless you know how to reinvent yourself on the fly, unless you're constantly updating yourself, unless you know how to think on your feet, you will not be sure of survival. And if you're good at that, then even if you lose your job, you know how to spring back again, right? So a lot of people in the pandemic have the other side of the story. We have seen some amazing innovations come up. We have seen people who never knew anything about business opening great startups. There's so much disruptive innovation happening right now. So people who are confident about their abilities, who are calm and relaxed, even if they lose a job, they're able to spring back in. They think on their feet, and they come up with better careers, right? So one of the key skills that's missing from the education system, and it's very difficult to pick up in our regular environments, is creative thinking. For me, the ability to think out of the box, and if I have one problem, for me the ability to diverge and think of hajar different solutions, rather than going back to my school training of only one solution. So the mind can function in two ways. One is convergence, that there is only one solution. Remember childhood days, school books, there was a question given and there was only one way to do it. In fact, if you answered in your own way, you got zero, and the teacher said, don't try to act smart. That's exactly what the world now wants you to do. They want you to think of hazard different solutions. They want you to diverge. And that's an ability typically we have not picked up. And we need it now more than ever before. And creativity cannot come from an anxious, depressed, stressed state of mind. Creativity springs forth from a calm, relaxed state of mind. So if I need to be secure in my career and progress, even in the most difficult situations outside, I will need to fall back on one, ability to calm myself down, two, creative thinking, ability to reinvent myself and make myself come back in demand no matter what the situation outside is. Because you can't change the whole world, right? You will have to think on, what do I do now? And there are many, many success stories of people who have, once they got fired from their jobs, they actually came back and made more money doing something different, or they got another job. I know people who have gotten 50, 80% hikes in their jobs in the pandemic, right? So my suggestion would be more solution oriented. The problem is given, but now how can I fix that? Focus on that, and you'll be amazed at how more ideas will come on how you can do this.
Beautiful, beautiful, Jaya. Thank you so much for this. And I'll quickly go to Avinash as well. Avinash, there's a question for you. Everyone seems to be celebrating during Navratri. Now, of course, it's a virtual celebration that is happening. But a person asked that he's really, really tired of doing this virtually, and this social isolation is really getting to him. Yeah. He does not want to really, it does not feel like enjoying this Navratri at all. What should he do?
I mean, when there is an option to either, there are two ways right now. If you are either at home and celebrate, or there is other option, you can Bangalore, which I think is not valid right now. Yeah. So there are only two options left, right? You can either crib and say that I am not in Bangalore, I cannot be there, or you can say, well, at least I can have the Zoom link and I'll have the I can see the entire celebrations live, and I can get some few of my family members together so that we can be together and celebrate. I think the entire purpose of celebration is that the people come together. Yes. So again, what Atika Di and Virat said, that we have to really, really think differently, and we have to understand that times have changed. So we have to find a different meaning, maybe, and we can just hope that maybe next year we can be there in the way you used to celebrate Navratri, how it used to be. Yeah. And we can pray for that. But for the meanwhile, I think this is the best way out, because I mean, even you are in Bangalore, yeah, it doesn't make, because you'll be seeing the celebrations live on the screen. Yeah. So whether you're at home or you're in Bangalore, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah. But the point is to celebrate. And I think I was reading a couple of interesting things, and especially what Emma and Dinesh also said, that how the brain functions, how these different hormones are created, just the fact you are celebrating, it gives you a sense of feeling happy. Yeah. But again, so many times we get just only lost in that celebration, that on the external level, that okay, let me do a party, I'll feel happy. But to sustain that and to feel that internally, I think that is very, very important, because many people just understand celebration just having that external pleasure, and they feel good. But then again, it's like that weekend. Yeah. You think, wow, man, Saturday, Sunday, but the Monday morning is the same. So if we want to sustain that happiness, the celebration, I think the perfect way is to meditate, to be aware of yourself, and to practice breathing, because breathing is something which you always do every moment. Yes. And once you're in that space, I think then, and what Gurudev truly says, that, that you can really celebrate life. Otherwise, you're finding moments when it is perfect, then I'll celebrate. But I think true, the meaning of art of living lies in if we can even celebrate our adverse times. And I think this is not a reason to crib that, you can see the celebrations online, right? Which each one of us seeing. Yeah. So, and you have to be also assured there is nobody else who's there with Gurudev in that form. So everybody is seeing it live. So, so be assured that each one of us are seeing the celebrations online. So celebrate, get some friends of yours and celebrate together.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, Avinash. There have been a lot of live questions, and I'm going to take live questions one after the other very soon with all of your permission. So, Atika ji, I'll have a question to you. You spoke about self-care, so Pooja Kumari asked, how to come out of bad events that have happened in her life, and how does one love herself without needing the approval of others? So, two related questions, please.
So, Pooja Kumari, whenever, remember how you were before the event happened, a happy soul, and then the event happened and you became a sad soul. Now, can you have, or do you have any control over the event right now? You don't. What do you have control on? Only your energy. You can't control the events in your life, but you can control your energy levels. And that is what this whole thing of what the art of living is teaching you is about. Yeah, right from the first course onwards, it's about the prana. Yeah, the if you know how to increase this prana level by introducing this one more word, which is yama, which means directing and controlling, the pranayama can make sure that you get out of this walked up energy which you have acquired because of this event. Yeah. And the moment the prana rises up, believe me, the event becomes small. And anyways, the any event in your life, look back. How many such events might have happened? Maybe in school, maybe at when it actually you thought it was the end of the world. Ab iske baad to kuch mera ho hi nahi sakta, but you got out of it. So who is bigger, you or the event? It's always you. All you need is to increase the prana level and you will be much bigger than any event in your life. Yeah. What was the second part of the question?
The second part was how to love myself without needing the approval of others.
If you're walking the spiritual path, and I call this the practical path now, everybody has to walk it. This is the first qualification you need. The first qualification is I am the best and I love myself because this universe has created me. See, which room are you sitting in right now? Wherever you are watching me, watching all of us, do you realize you have this beautiful room around you? You have electricity, you have this amazing gadget, you're listening to me, you have two hands, two legs, beautiful hair, knowledge, wisdom, you have dinner waiting for you after this. Who attracted all this? You. So you are the most potent creator. You attracted this entire thing in your life. So there is no way somebody can go into low self-esteem knowing that you are so powerful. So just count your blessing, just be in gratitude with whatever you have and you have it. The fact that you're asking us this question, okay, shows a great deal that you are into creating a better version of yourself. So the rest has been provided for you. 80% has worked out for you. Now 20% there is misery. What do you want to focus on? Choose that. And that is what life will become. Whatever you will focus on, that part of your life will multiply. So the choice is yours. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful, Atika. Yeah,
Who's
absolutely.
created this cannot have low self-esteem because you're such a powerful, potent creator. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Atikari. Question to Viratbhaya over here. So Upasna Madan asked, how to deal with competition and extensive pressure at work environment that's affecting her? How does she deal with it?
If you're good at your work, no amount of pressure will impact you. If you really feel I've given my best, this is the best I could have done, I've been sincere, then you do your effort and you drop the results, right? That's exactly what Bhagavad Gita talks about, right? You have a control only on your action. तो तुम अपना 100% डालो, उसके बाद तो छोड़ दो. Yeah. Because whether you go anywhere on the planet Earth, you will face competition. There will be pressure. Forget about a job, forget about success. If you're not ready to deal with pressure, peer pressure, expectations from seniors, demands from family, and competition from your peers, this is the reality of life. ये सत्य है, ऐसा है, right? So I accept that, and then, of course, I upgrade myself. I give it my sincere shot, and then I surrender. And I have this faith that what is due for me will come to me. This faith can really give you so much strength. This faith, ये श्रद्धा की मुझे मेरे नसीब में जो है वो आएगा. But I have to put in my effort. So once I do that, then I don't even feel so jealous or bad, even if somebody beats me. When I've really given my 100%, I'm at peace within myself. I know how to handle my mind. Then even if somebody beats me, I don't feel so bad. I don't destroy myself. I don't go on a drinking spree. I know how to deal with it. And know that don't judge too soon. Na? Today somebody beat you, or today you experience some small amount of failure. Is your life over? No. You have so many years ahead of you. You'll be given so many chances again. Right? So know that you will be given a chance again and again and again. Yeah, it's circular. It's not linear. So have faith, put in your 100%, surrender, and move on.
Beautiful. I think it was very bang on to the point. Thank you so much, Virat Bhaiya. Avinash, one question from Jaswinder Singh to you. My heart just starts beating so fast if I can, and I keep on overthinking. What should I do at that moment? I'm unable to stop overthinking. What should be?
I mean, if you have done the Art of Living program, you know the answer. If you haven't done the Art of Living program, you should do the Art of Living program. Yeah. Yeah, I think she did it for us. She said, just close your eyes, take a few breaths in and out. I think that's it. That is one of the most easiest things which you can do. With the help of the breath, you can really handle your emotions and your feelings. So if you want a long-lasting solution, and I will say, if you're practicing pranayams like what Vivi said, it will really, really allow you to absorb all the pressure which you take from outside to really handle that, because you are increasing the space of your own energy. So I will say the one thing which you can do is become more aware of your breathing. Yeah, just check how your breath is. Yeah, and I will say just work on it, that what are the triggers which is making this happen, because sometimes it's a pattern of our life. Because of certain things, it starts repeating, and if you can address those patterns and pay attention that why does this happen, and then it'll be easy, because first important thing is to understand what is the problem. So many times you're finding a solution but without understanding what the problem is. But if you can find out what the root cause of this problem is, and finding a solution becomes very easy, and that is right under your nose. The solution is just right under your nose. So I will say practice breathing, pranayams, meditation, Sudarshan Kriya. I think they are something which are time tested, and not like something which you have to do for a long duration of time to see results. It happens instantly. Yeah. So practice breathing, meditation, Kriya.
Thanks, Avinash. And as we are coming to the last 5-7 minutes of today's interaction, I want to just open the floor here. There's one very interesting question. Any of you can take it. Is Nirali Shah asked how to recognize the reason of anxiety, especially when you don't know you're anxious, why you're anxious. How do you recognize the reason of anxiety when you don't know why you're anxious? Anybody would like to take that? Anyone?
Okay, I can share, and then Atika, Didi, and Avinash can add.
Sure.
When you are anxious, that's not the time when you can recognize the reason for your anxiety. Yeah. So once you calm down, then you do some reflection, then you do some introspection. Yeah. See, घर में जब आग लग गई है उस वक्त कुआं नहीं खोद सकते, right? So once you learn how to deal with your mind, you understand the secrets of the mind, the breathing techniques, blah blah blah, you will suddenly realize why your patterns are repeating. Why do you get anxious? Why do you get angry? Why do all these things happen to you? Yeah. So don't expect yourself to suddenly show enlightened behavior that, okay, I figured this. There is no magic formula like that. It's a journey. It takes time. It takes practice. Yeah. You will fall 100 times, you have to get up 100 times again. Now, I used to be a super angry person. I'm not that person anymore. It didn't happen overnight. But there were moments when it was crystal clear to me why I was getting angry. What was the root cause? And then I had to work on it. And thankfully, I got over it. Yeah? So don't be so hard on yourself. Allow yourself to be anxious. It's okay. You'd be amazed at how many people feel anxious, right? So it's okay. It's normal. But do learn some techniques to calm yourself down and then reflect, then introspect, yeah, and have the courage to change that pattern once you discover it. Most of the people understand the problem and they do nothing about it. Yeah, they've just gotten used to it. So have the courage to make that change.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, I'll just quickly go. Yeah, Adhikari, you want to add something to this? You're on mute, Adhikari.
I said, I feel she's so lucky she doesn't know the reason of her anxiety. It's very good. So there is no reason for you to know the reason of your anxiety. Just focus on who is anxious. That is a good enough place to start with, and work on that. Work on yourself. Forget the reason of anxiety. Just work on yourself.
Amazing, amazing. My one more question. Pushpa John asked that sometimes when someone comments bad about me, I feel really low. I feel degraded, disrespectful, etc. How do I come out of it immediately? I want to get out of that feeling fast. Any of you would like to take that? Yes,
One
sir.
thing, definitely the other person you should think that has a bad taste. Simple. I mean, if anybody, like what Didi said, that you are the most potent, powerful creator. Yeah, you have been amazing. You are the best person. So if somebody doesn't recognize that amazingness, it's the fault with other person. Nothing wrong with you. So don't go on that self pity. Maybe feel pity for the other person that he has a bad taste. That's it. Yeah, Didi and Virat can add something on this.
No, perfect. I think I'll come to the last question for today. Is can you tell me one thing that you do personally, yeah, which has really helped you to overcome any mental challenge that you have faced in your life, whatever it is? What is that one thing that you would recommend to anybody else to do that helps? And I'll just throw a trick on this question that the answer cannot be repeated. So yeah, whoever wants to go first. Yeah, Virat, you're on unmute, so you can go first.
So, of course, the second trick should be that Sudarshan Kriya cannot be the answer because that's the most obvious thing. But you know what? Apart from all the breathing and meditation and all of that, one thing that I do is I speak with somebody I love. I'm blessed to have many people in my life who I can confide in, who I know value me, love me, and trust me, and I trust them. So I talk it out. I call up a friend, I call up my mentors, and they really, just by talking with them and sharing my heart with them, my problem suddenly seems smaller. So have people like that around you. Surround yourself with people who love you and are ready to pick up, cheer you up and help you come out of any of these problems. That's what I do.
Amazing. Adhikari?
So I do the same, but I can't say it, so I will not say it. The second thing which I do is I just go into nature. Like I will just take off to Rishikesh, and just by being at the Ganga, at the Ganges, I tell you, I mean, who has a problem? What problem are you talking about? I don't have any issues. I am so done. This is it. So it just kind of nature, kind of, and especially being in India, we are so lucky. You don't have to go anywhere abroad. And being in Delhi, I mean, I can just drive down to Rishikesh, and that takes care of everything.
Amazing. Avinash?
I'm left with very less options because everything is done. But I'll say eating good food. Going out for an amazing dinner or a lunch to an amazing place where you know the food is good, it really, really makes your mood lit up. I mean, except all those things. Didi and Virat may, yes. So I think food is I think, an solution to many, many problems. Good food, good, tasty food. Yeah, and I also prefer to play sports. So I love sports. So if you can play sports, it's really, you get over all those things. Yeah. So I think sports and amazing, delicious, super tasty food.
It's
Yeah.
amazing how I
Yes,
think
Virat Bhaiya. Yeah.
it's amazing. I think our answers apply to all of us.
I know, seriously, absolutely.
And I think for all the audience watching, one thing that's common and which everybody mentioned is practicing breathing techniques effectively. So once again, I just want to reiterate for everybody who's watching, if you have not done the Sudarshan Kriya, make sure that this weekend you make sure you take out time for your own self. Like the self-care Atika Di spoke about, take out time for ourselves. Make sure that you do the online breath and meditation workshop. It can really make sure that your life gets transformed in just a matter of few days. Yeah. And also, if you want to implement a quick solution immediately, there is a wonderful ebook on overcoming anxiety and also improving mental health that is brought to you by The Art of Living. You can download those, practice those techniques, and really implement those. I want to thank Dr. Virat. I want to thank Atika ji. I want to thank Avinash for your time, valuable time. It was such an enriching session and a super fun session as well. I hope the entire audience really, really enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Wish you all the very best and hope to see you soon. Thank you so much once